the legendary dragon. The dragons were known to the world, but as all knew, it was a legend. The story of the legendary dragon was known to all. A small boy lived, and he was a normal human being, but there was something special inside him. He would never tell a single soul about it. His passion for dragons. His village was located in China, the place his ancestors started, and later finished their very life. He knew the story of the legendary dragon. Every day he would sneak into the tree house. He made himself in the woods and started learning about the dragons. He usually thought about his favorite one, the dragon of fire. The dragon of fire was the protector of the Emerald of Fire and was one of the mightiest dragons known. He had won all the battles and was really proud of himself, but it was only a legend. The very thought of the dragons being a legend saddened the boy, also to be named as Fire. Once he found a piece of scrolled paper in his secret treehouse. Before touching it, he thought, nobody knows about this treehouse of mine, so who must have put it here? His mind went blank. Suddenly, he saw the scroll shimmer with a golden light. It was glowing so much that Fire couldn't see the sun. Suddenly, he understood everything. His passion for dragons had made this scroll come into his treehouse. He picked it up, and before he could even jump out, the treehouse glowed and blocked his sight. He closed his eyes, but nothing happened. Fire tried to open his eyes, but the sun blinded him. In a moment, he was wearing his sunglasses that he always kept in his treehouse, but that still didn't stop the sun from blinding his eyes. To his surprise, his glasses melted before he could even take them off. Suddenly, he could see as good as he could see before. He also found out that the treehouse was burning. Before the fire could come up to his body, he quickly took useful things, including the scroll, put them in his bag and jumped out of the treehouse in the nick of time. Suddenly, he felt hot, as if he was in the middle of the Sahara Desert. After he looked around, he found that the land which he was now on was filled with dragons of all types. To his surprise, the dragons were not annoyed with the blazing sun. Some dragons were surprised by seeing him. Many of them started running around the hills and playing. Now it came into my mind the dragons were not a legend, but were real and hidden somewhere far from the places where people lived. Moments later, the ground beneath him opened, and then he fell into an underground cave. It was dark and spooky. That reminded him of his matches that he kept in his treehouse. He took the matches out of his bag and tried to lighten them, as it was very cold in the cave. It wouldn't lighten. When he looked up, he saw the place where he had fallen from was not closed, and that gave him an idea. He took out his magnifying glasses out of his bag and held it to the sun shines on it. He held the matches underneath the magnifying glasses and waited. After a while, the matchstick lightened up. Now he could see the part of the cave. Suddenly, he heard someone whisper something to another person. He started walking towards the sound he heard. Moments later, the sun shined into the cave and lightened the cave. Now he could see clearly. There were two people, explorers from his time. They also had come here. They saw him and told him about the dragons. It seems that they were in a mess. They found a map of the dragon treasure, but they never found the treasure. It says that we will find the treasure in the castle of the Dragon of Fire, but they never found it, as it is hidden in a certain place, and they don't have the scroll that tells the answer. Suddenly Fire Ease lighten it up. He takes the scroll that he had found in the tree, house out of his bag, and shows it to them. Together, they go to the castle of the Dragon of Fire. Soon they find the room where the treasure was hidden. When they opened the door of the room, a great light blinds their eyes. When they could see better, they could see with their very own eyes the Emerald of Fire. Now they have to get back to their time. At that moment, Fire suddenly found himself with two other explorers in his treehouse. They were back in their village. When they told the discovery to the village people, they celebrated the discovery with the grand feast. And as you know, that was the story of the dragon